Hey guys, Justin Coffin here for the 330 Sports Show. We are a Youngstown studio production. If you're watching, you can find us on Instagram, on Facebook, on X at 330 Sports Show. You can also find a ton of our old content. We do obviously sports focused on the Guardians, the Cavs, the Browns, the Buckeyes, the Penguins. We do all that stuff weekly. However, we like to do these kind of fun shows from time to time. So we've done a ton of movie breakdowns, including Planes, Trains, and Automobiles a couple years ago, which kind of led to the show we're going to do tonight. So in a minute, I'm going to bring on Brett and Greg. And this was actually Brett's idea. He wanted to do a John Candy movie draft. And so we're going to talk about that and this is a guy that, I didn't even realize, I had to look it up. He passed away almost over 30 years ago. So a legend that was gone way too soon. But he left behind some incredible movies, and we're going to get into those and talk about those movies and some of those roles and just some other fun stuff here as we go. So I'm going to bring on Brett. And I'm going to bring on Greg. And guys, let's just, Brett, I'm going to let you go first because this was kind of your idea. And you wanted to do this John Candy draft. Why do you think this guy left behind such a lasting legacy?
I think a lot of it is he's hilarious.
Yeah.
There were a lot of, but even in some of the great roles where he was just super funny, he was also he had some great serious moments in him too. Not that we need to get into the movie because we'll talk about it, but it's just I think some of his roles they just became so iconic. And then I think on top of it, you now have just with streaming, what you're starting to see is a new generation, sort of like what just happened with The Office, is a revival of some of his stuff. And I think since we're coming up on Thanksgiving, the all-time greatest Thanksgiving movie is going to be on this list. So.
You're right. Absolutely. And I couldn't agree more. I think there's not too many movies dedicated to Thanksgiving. I think there's a horror movie that recently came out actually called Thanksgiving. But besides that, you don't really get a whole lot of Thanksgiving classics. So, Greg, let's go to you. John Candy, when you think of him or his movies, what comes to mind?
Yeah, just he had this everyman quality to him as well. It's just he was just a lovable guy, and from everything that you hear and see, and I watched a little bit of the documentary that's on Prime too, the I Like Me documentary. I mean, he to a person was just a very genuine human being, and kind of was very much who he was on screen. The tender side of that was really him in real life. So all his movies were fun. They always made you laugh. Like Brett said, he had a human quality to them too, that brought out other emotions, but just a likable guy. My kids started watching John Candy movies when they were, 7, 8 years old, and they love him to this day. So it's just he relates to every age.
No doubt. And he had, he had one of you could put it up there in one of the all-time greatest runs in movie history from the mid 80s to early 90s. Just an unbelievable run. And we're going to talk about that. So I don't want to throw out any names or anything yet, because how we're going to do this, and Brett, I'm going to let you clarify this. So we are going to, we have a draft order. We're going to each of us are going to pick 4 movies. So we're going to go in order. Brett is going to go first. Greg is going to go second. I will go third. We're going to do it a snake style draft. But Brett, clarify this for us, for anybody that might be watching. Is this best movies, best roles, or just whatever you prefer?
I think it's sort of whatever you prefer, because there's parts that Greg and I were actually texting about this earlier. We weren't telling each other what we were going to be doing, but we were talking about it. It's more I was like, I'm leaning one way. He's like, I'm leaning another. And it's because we all have small little preferences. Because even on my list, I have movies where he had a cameo. He just a single
right.
cameo. It was a good movie, but it was just he just had a singular cameo.
Okay.
And so it's whatever we sort of kind of have a preference for. You know, some of these movies he was a star, some of them he was a background character. So it just depends.
No, that's perfect. And I admittedly, I've seen some of these movies that are on my list probably 15 to 20 times. And I've seen a couple of these movies where I've only seen maybe 20 or 30 minutes of the movie. I'm an expert in some and not so much in some others, but I could easily get to 10. I had a little bit of trouble from 11 to 15, but we'll sort that out as we go.
What I did tell Greg too is like he has so many movies, and you know, of course, you don't see them all. Like, there's just no way you can see them all. Well, you could, I guess, but it's just not enough time. But every movie on my list, I saw, so, and I remember it. So, like, I went with the ones that I knew, and I had seen. So, yeah,
I like it. So, well, I mean, why wait? Let's get right into it. So, again, we're gonna go Brett, Greg, and then me, and it'll be snake style. So it'll be Brett first, Greg second. I'll have 2. Then on the way back, Brett will have 2, and so on, so on. So, Brett, I'm gonna let you lead off, and however you want to introduce it.
I told Greg I was leaning away. I think he might know what I was doing. You guys both know this because it's gonna reference what I think is his best movie. I think it's the most, and I don't even know if this is a word, it's the most gifable movie he has. There's so many clips that are just like perfect. I've got a username on an Ohio State website that references this movie. I'm going with Uncle Buck.
Yeah, I think that has to be the pick. To me, there was 2. There's a clear top 2, which
that I had 2. So I had a feeling.
So that's a John Hughes movie that led right to another movie for another star. But Buck Russell, I believe, is his name in that movie. And so I found this out literally today. Do you know they asked 3 people to do that movie before him? Do you know any? You know all 3 actors. Do you know? Can you think you can name any of the actors that they asked before John Candy?
Oh man, what year was it? I guess.
So it came out in 1989.
Okay.
It wasn't like some weird. It wasn't like it was. Was there a Nicholson aspect to that? Yeah, I feel like that was I feel like that was the era where like you had to kind of call Nicholson first, probably, or one of the first calls.
He was the first call.
Yeah,
that would have been a little weird.
And the other two, very interesting. The other 2 are guys doing Jersey Mike's commercials now. Danny DeVito.
That would have been terrible. What did they just go to the set of Batman Returns and
and then the third guy they asked was Robin Williams. So
would have been great in its own way.
Any of those guys would have. I don't know about Danny DeVito in that role, but even Jack Nicholson. Like looking back, John Candy's the only guy I think that's like the best, perfect character for this role.
Yeah, like it. Nicholson, like he's a smart, goofy, kind of funny, but not like a sincere. Just like Candy's a guy that I look like, probably like Conan, like O'Brien, like just has jokes upon jokes upon jokes. Can't stop being funny. That's how I always imagined he was. The very down to earth guy, but the man it wasn't short of any sort of joke. And I think it's perfect for the role.
And you had to have like a bit of again, we say it's like everyman, but also like he could kind of play sort of a loser guy pretty well too, like a lovable loser. And I don't see like Nicholson, I don't think really could pull that off very well. Robin Williams it had just been off the rails. Like it would have just, he would have done some things great, but it would have just been too much. But like this guy, you just buy him as kind of this like unemployed, sort of like, goes to,
Yeah.
Goes to the track, fixes horse races, and kind of just has a but kind of seedy friends. Like it's just perfect. But he's also like so good with the kids. I think that is one of the things about that movie that's so great is how much he connects with the kids, which really makes you love him.
100%. And
I
maybe
want to have a cake size pancakes.
I want to see the toast that he couldn't get through the door.
And I did a little studying up today, and I watched a YouTube video, and they said those were actually real pancakes, real butter.
Awesome.
He flipped them himself. The only thing that was different was they watered down the syrup, so it wasn't like this sticky, gooey mess. But Brett, like before we move on to pick number 2, I think we got to spend a little bit more time on this movie because it's one of the, in my opinion, it's one of the top 2. But what is your favorite? And there's probably 3 or 4 to choose from. What's your favorite scene in this movie? So we'll go to Brett and then Greg for you after that.
There are so many. I'm gonna do like this. There's 2 though that always stick out to me, and I can probably quote it, and I even used it like. The first, this isn't the best one, but it was the one I used for my user profile. Like I used the whole thing where Macaulay Culkin's character just asked him question after question after question.
Yeah.
But I think it's when he's telling the principal.
There it is.
Correct answer.
Have a rat gnaw that off her face.
He friggin' flips her a quarter.
That's my favorite.
Oh my god, Greg, how about?
That is probably the right answer. I love when just again, this is like, to me, it's quintessential John Candy when he's making the breakfast and singing, and 7:02 in the a.m. I don't have to work this morning, kind of thing, and just he's just being John Candy, and just like, and there's so many, but that's probably like the one that kind of jumped out, and then just how he interacts with the kids when they first come down, and kind of the standoff he has with the older daughter. But yeah, what a fucking classic movie.
I would go with the principal scene too, and he said something like, take this quarter, go downtown, and have a rat gnaw that thing off your face. It's just so good. Doesn't he say something to someone too, like that bowl better be gleaming, like he like scrubbing the toilets or something like that?
I don't know.
I feel like
the whole lead into that is hilarious though. Just when he like walks into the school and he's like smoking, he's like smoking his little
down the hallway.
Yeah,
by the way,
like he realizes he's doing it in the hallway, and he goes to the urinal. It's just like he was just cooking.
Same school as they use that is in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and they also used it in another movie we'll talk about probably here pretty soon. But my other favorite scene, I have 2 others that you guys didn't even mention. You guys all know my affinity for clowns. When the drunk clown shows up for the birthday, and he just rips them in the face, and then he leans back and does it again. Apparently that guy that was in the clown costume was like, he was in Goodfellas. He was like a mob actor. So that scene always gets me because I just freaking hate clowns.
Yeah, his name's Mike Starr, and he was also probably more notably he was the guy, the Dumb and Dumber guy that ate the.
Yes,
that's him.
It.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, so he's been in a lot of stuff. Yeah.
And then the final scene, and I'm sorry, it's like we probably spend probably about 2 minutes on each movie, but we're spending a little bit longer on this one. The golf ball scene when Bug, the boyfriend, and he just tees it up, and like, he drives it 250 straight down a road and hits him in the back of the head. So, man,
there was one scene though. Candy wasn't. He was quoted, I think, and I think it was a little girl, because something was right. He's like, well, why are you wearing that or something like that? And she goes, because the goddamn dryer won't work, or the goddamn washer, something like that. I think the interaction with the little kids was so good too.
Yeah.
And he has a scene later with the dryer with remember Jackie from Roseanne. She's in that. I mean, there's a great cast in this. So it's just a classic movie. It really doesn't get much better than this one. We can circle back to this one with more info, but Greg, so we're going with Uncle Buck, which is Buck Russell in this. So Uncle Buck. Greg, I'm going to let you have the number 2 pick here.
And I appreciate that, because you're kind of right. There really is like a 1A and 1B in this draft. So we've touched on it before. We've done the full breakdown before. I'm going Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. We're coming up on Thanksgiving. It's an amazing movie. It's another John Hughes movie. Del Griffith is the name of the John Candy character. Again, him and Buck, you could probably put side by side and say those probably really are 2 of his finest roles. Del Griffith is everything you could really want in a movie character in a movie like that, right? He's funny, he's charming in a way, he's annoying as hell, but there's so much depth to his character. And maybe I'm getting soft in my age, but like the more you watch that movie, the more it's like almost like the emotional side of that character kind of sticks out a little bit more. And the ending of that movie, man, if it gets you on the right day, it'll get a little misty in the room. I mean, and it's just but it's an unbelievable movie, unbelievable character. And really just iconic. And it's something that I watch every year, usually the day before Thanksgiving and probably once on Thanksgiving. And it's funny, I was prepping for this and I keep seeing it, like it's right there, like on Prime. I'm like, not watching it yet. I got to wait 3 weeks, but what a movie. And it's like anybody who hasn't seen Uncle Buck or Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, it transcends generations. It transcends ages of people watching it. It's, watch them and you won't regret it.
100%. 100%. The, probably my Uncle Buck is still number 1 for me, but Planes, Trains, and Automobiles has to be a 1B, 1A, 1B right there.
There were 1 and 2 for me.
Yeah. For sure. And so let's just, since we have a clear top 2, let's dive into this one for a few minutes. So Greg, since you took this pick, I'm gonna let you dive in. What's your favorite scene from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles? And it cannot be the Steve Martin losing.
I was gonna say
shit at the that although Del Griffith behavior and personality kind of leads to that. But what is your favorite scene?
Exactly. That is probably the best scene in the movie. It does not involve John Candy. So,
it's like
you kind of there's really, for me, there's 2, and I'm gonna go with 1, and I feel like somebody's gonna go with the other. But like him in the car, like another like quintessential. And it's funny, like both of these that I'm picking are like John Candy singing a song, but him doing the mess around with Ray Charles, and just all his antics in the car, getting his coat caught on the one arm and then getting it caught on the other arm. And then just like everything that ensues in that whole scene is like just literally laugh out loud hilarious. So I'm going to go with that.
Brett, how about you?
The one that always makes me laugh, just because it's uncomfortable, is when they're cuddling in the bed.
There you go.
There it is.
Like, they're just that one. It's like it's what I would reference to it now is sort of like in The Office with Steve Carell when he would do something completely, his character would do something completely off the wall, and you're like, oh, and this one you're like, oh, but then you were still laughing at it at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, oh, where's your other hand? Between two pillows. Those aren't pillows.
Oh,
and
so good.
I mean,
So good.
that's probably my favorite one too. So I'm just going to piggyback off of Brett's there. The only thing I will say, and I don't want to get into all like all the other actors and stuff he's worked with, but in a lot of these movies, you do see a theme. There's like, he has a real good like tag team type buddy. It's Macaulay Culkin and Uncle Buck. It's Steve Martin in this movie. There'll be others that we're going to talk about soon coming up. But yeah, they just like play so well off of each other. And that's what makes a great movie. And, Steve Martin's like kind of like assholeness in that movie versus John Candy's like sweet, likable, just good guy character play so well in that. And those two guys could not have been cast any better for that movie. So
yeah, I mean, Steve Martin is always really good with those types of roles, like that sort of really driving, but kind of like asshole-ish, like stuff. Like it's not intentional, but it's like intentional. It's like he's great. So I think in terms of this, if we're talking about like pairings, I think this was the better pairing of the two movies. Yeah.
No doubt. So, all right. So I'll take this next pick here. And since I have two, I'm going to go with the movie that he played more of a prominent role in for my first out of my two picks. And I'm going to go with The Great Outdoors. I love that movie. And I watched that movie so much growing up. There's the old 96er and the jet ski scene, and there's the bare ass bear. And we talked about comedy pairings. He's with Dan Aykroyd in that movie. And it's just like so good. Annette Bening is in that movie. That was her first role on screen. So, he plays a character named Chet Ripley in that, which Chet Ripley sounds like a complete douche. But these two are brother-in-laws, and they just kind of like try to one-up each other the whole movie. And it just gets better and better and better and builds and builds and builds. So this is like, to me, is kind of like a cult classic. It's not up there with Uncle Buck. It's not up there with Plane, Trains, and Automobiles, but it's such a good movie. And if anybody hasn't seen it, highly recommend. It's a good like summertime movie too. So
it's a fun movie, it's you don't go in expecting like an Oscar nomination for something like this.
Right.
You go in and it's fun. It's goofy, it's silly, but it's serious at times. It's great. Yeah.
Yes.
Dan Aykroyd is such a dick, but it's like it's great.
Which,
by the way, those two were basically best of friends, which I kind of realized that watching the doc. They're both Canadian. Like they kind of came up together doing improv. A lot of those, there are a few other people that we will mention in I think future movies that he stayed close to a lot of his good friends, but those two I think were really may have been even like best friends. So
yeah, when you said some of his pairings that he has, or like Dan Aykroyd was after those. You said Macaulay and then Steve Martin. Like Dan Aykroyd was the first, and it was because of The Great Outdoors. Like they were so good together.
And I talked about that run he was on. So this movie, this movie. Let's see, Uncle Buck came out in 1989. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles came out in 87. And this movie came out in 88. So he had a 3-year run right there, back to back to back. So these first three movies, it went Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. It went The Great Outdoors, and then it went Uncle Buck. So 87, 88, 89. Great run. And, it's something too that I think with our age, we're early to mid 40s. This kind of resonated probably with us as like little kids. Maybe Uncle Buck more so, maybe The Great Outdoors more so. Probably didn't. I got into Planes, Trains, and Automobiles a little bit more as like a teenager, but these movies like hit home and were perfect for our age set. But I think, like Greg said, like his kids can still watch them now, and it can still be funny and relevant and lasting. So yeah, I'm going with that one. Any other thoughts on that one before I do my other pick? There is a guy that gets in that movie, which also resonated with me in that one too. So that one was good. All right. So my next pick, I'm going to go a little different than where you guys might think I'm going. No, probably not. No, this could be one of the next three picks, but I'm going to go, just being a sports show, I'm going to go with a fictional coach he played, Herb Blitzer in Cool Runnings. That movie came out in 1993. A first Disney type movie he did. But this came out about a year and a half before he had passed in 94. But, I think most people know the story of Cool Runnings, the Jamaican bobsled team, all that stuff. And I think if you just say Jamaican bobsled team, it takes you to Cool Runnings. It takes, so he played a great character in that, albeit fictional, and they took a lot of liberties with that story, but it made for a really good movie. So I'm going to go with his character in Cool Runnings. So if you guys have anything to say about that, jump in. And
I think it's his best more serious role for sure.
Interesting. Okay.
Like there's comedic relief in there for sure, but he was far more serious in this role than this is the one that for me that stands out in terms of his serious stuff.
Okay. Very good. Greg?
Yeah, no, we dusted that one off about a year ago, and I'd watched it for the first time in a long time, and it is really good. It's a really good performance, and it's we haven't touched on it too much. It's we're getting couple of guys here in their I would say early, now mid 40s. Like, he passed away at our age. He had so much of a career left. A movie like this, and there is another one that comes up that we may select and may be an honorable mention, but like it makes you think like what could have been possible in the kind of the rest of his career. I absolutely believe that he would have taken a more serious turn, like a lot of guys do, like Robin Williams did and others, and probably had some Oscar nominations, if not Oscar wins, because he was a tremendous actor. And they always say if you can make somebody laugh, that is probably one of the hardest things you can do as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can do funny, you could probably do serious. So if you could do serious, you might not be able to do funny, but this was like a little bit of a glimpse, and they're like, yeah, this guy can act. And obviously you see it in some of these other, you see it in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, you see it in Uncle Buck. He shows glimpses, but it would have been, it's on so many levels, it's sad, but he could have really, what he could have done over the last 30 years would have been really special.
Yeah. Agreed. Okay. Well, Greg, I'll turn it over to you with the fifth pick.
All right. Well, we're going straight into the cameo town for this one. I can't let it go any longer. I thought you were going to take it, Justin. I really did. Another movie that we've broken down. I'm going Home Alone. Gus Polinski, Polka King of the Midwest. Like the legend has it. I don't think it's a legend. I think it's true. He had one day, and it was a 23-hour day that he did that work with another one of his best friends in the world, Catherine O'Hara. And it was almost all entirely unscripted. And it was all just, especially all the stuff in the truck about the funeral home and all that stuff. I guess he did like And the doc shows another scene that got cut, but I guess they just were in there, and they were just riffing basically, just totally improving. So it's a legendary cameo. Even I just love like I was watching it the other day because I was like just him in the background when she's like at the rental desk, like losing her mind. And he's just like back there, like making facial expressions. It's just, he's knocking it out of the park from the moment he steps on the screen. And it really differentiates the two movies. I feel like I love both Home Alone movies. I think I actually kind of like New York better, but like, man, it's like, but John Candy's in the original Home Alone, and that's pretty freaking awesome. So I'm going Home Alone.
The Kenosha Kickers. Brett, you got any thoughts on that one?
No, I as soon as he said like he was going on Cameo, I literally on my notes for this, I literally hit the checkbox on the name Home Alone. I was like, he's taking Home Alone. Like,
yep.
Dudes, I know it's coming. No, I think what makes his cameo with Home Alone so impressive, especially Greg talking about how he riffed it, it's how easily he got like into the character, and he kind of stays in the character. Like it's so amazing that he can do that. Like step of a finger.
Absolutely.
Just show up. Like, yeah.
Yep.
and so many of his movies were John Hughes movies. This was a Christopher Columbus, obviously, movie. But fun fact, Christopher Columbus from Youngstown, Ohio. So
that's right.
So that's, so we're through Uncle Buck, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, The Great Outdoors, Cool Runnings, and Home Alone, the cameo by Gus Polinski, aka John Candy. So Brett, you have the next two picks. You have pick 6 and 7.
I told Greg earlier that I had a feeling I was going to be able to take 3 of my top 5 picks, and I am able to do that.
I think I know what your next one is, or one of the next.
I know what one of them is.
You can say I'm reaching for it. I don't really care. I'm going Spaceballs.
Yep.
I love it.
I don't think that's
love
original.
Spaceballs. To me, it's
Mog.
a funny movie. It just I've loved it since I was a kid. I still watch it if it's on TV. Just like Uncle Buck, if it's on TV, I will watch it. It's a guarantee. So yeah, it's the whole spoof of Star Wars, obviously, and I think that's what kind of just makes it funny. But you factor him into a Mel Brooks movie, and it's just so good.
This movie also came out in 1987, same year as Planes, Trains, and Automobiles too.
Yeah.
Also, in it with the future president in Independence Day that helped us save from an alien attack. Oh man! So
that day, but there's close enough.
His character is called Barf, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. He's a Mog.
A half man, half dog. Oh man, part of us are all Mogs out there, you know.
It's just funny. It's just, to me, it's the spoof, and I think, it's a great cast on top of it when you think about it. Like there's so many good people. I was just bringing up the cast just so I could make sure I didn't miss anybody. But you had obviously Mel Brooks, Rick Moranis, Joan Rivers, which
forgot about her.
She was the robot. Then you had Bill Pullman. So
that's right.
You had a lot of Michael Winslow too, the guy from the Police Academy movies who makes all the sounds. Yeah.
And there might be another Rick Moranis movie, at least in the honorable mentions, if not drafted in this one. But like again, he's in these movies with these other great actors, comedic actors, just serious actors, and he shines in all of them.
There was another one they were just talking about this on one of the rewatchables episodes. There's a quick cameo by Stephen Tobolowsky, who is the from Groundhog Day.
Okay.
Ed Ryerson.
Oh, oh yeah.
He's a bad guy.
He makes like
he's definitely a bad guy.
Like, yeah, there's like one small scene of him in this movie too.
Interesting. Okay.
So he's sort of like he's like the 80s, early 90s, like everyman. Like he's an all like has appearances and everything.
Very good. So, yeah, that movie, that's one I haven't seen in a long time, but that movie really sticks out for me, like early teenage years, especially. Just like the dumb, goofy comedy that like just like makes you laugh.
Yeah. It's dumb. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, just like Mel Brooks, he does goofy stuff, but that's what also got me after seeing this, and it had to be a little bit older for it for sure. But getting into and all of a sudden I'm drawing a blank on Blazing Saddles. All to me is one of the all-time funniest movies ever made, and so
my quick point was going to be it's dumb and goofy, but it's like done so smartly.
Yes,
kind of like in the like in how Naked Gun is and things like that. They're like they're Thank you. Smart, dumb comedy. I think that was not to quote another rewatchables, but I think that was brought up in another, like in the Naked Gun or Airplane or one of those. But it's right in those where it's like it's so well done. The jokes are just everywhere, constantly, and every time you watch it, you see multiple things you hadn't seen before because everything's a joke, but it's just done so well.
Yeah. Absolutely. I agree 100%. All right. Well, we're halfway through right now. So Brett, you started us off. You're going to start the second half of the draft off here. Pick number 7.
Okay. Well, this one, I don't know if this was expected or not, but we are going Stripes.
Nice. That's a great movie.
And this is definitely not his earliest, but it's definitely on the early side of him. And of his career at least, but the ensemble you had in this cast, I think his sort of, we'll call it like we'll just say dumbness, like just sort of ignorance. Like he was just that goofy idiot, and I loved it. Honestly, I don't think I saw this movie until college. Like I don't even. So it took a long time. It was a neighbor of ours in our dorm who had talked about it, Bob, and he loved it. He loved it, and so then I was like, oh, I gotta watch it, and I just fell in love with the movie. So good. And
refresh me because, like, well, first of all, this movie came out the same year you and I were born. I think Greg's a year younger, but 1981 to date us here. But Dewey Oxenberg is that? Do I have that right?
Yeah.
And they're kind of just right, but they're just kind of like half-assing their way through boot camp, kind of, right?
Yeah, they're trying. They're basically trying to get out of their, like. There's a problem that they have. I forget what it was. I thought it might be like taxes and something like that. And they found out if they go into the army or whatever it may be, like they could get out of having to pay it.
Okay.
And so it was a whole plan that was like that Bill Murray's character came up with, and him and Harold Ramis were the two main guys, but then they started bringing a whole bunch of people on.
Yeah. I mean, you had half the Ghostbusters in this movie along with them, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, Stripes is a movie I actually admittedly have never seen the movie the whole way through. I've seen probably like 20 minutes here, 30 minutes here, but Bill Murray probably gets the leading role in this movie, kind of like the main dude. And Bill Murray's like a legend, but like John Candy is right there, and he's playing like that comedic, goofy. He's playing like what Chris Farley would have been, kind of, or what Juan Belushi would have been before him. So, Yeah.
It's exactly what it was. And it is interesting if you watch the doc. I'll go back to that because like it kind of, I love Stripes and I love his role in Stripes. There was a little bit of like a little bit of awe that when you watch it, because it was like he didn't love the fact that he was kind of portrayed in that sense, like the fat guy. Like there's that mud wrestling scene where the girls are like messing with him, and you know, it was like he John Candy the person didn't love being in that position, and basically the girls kind of felt like they could do whatever they wanted to him, and they were actually like really like hurting him. But you know, it was the early 80s. You did have those type of characters, and I think, you know, it kind of just shows he knew what was funny, but what was funny maybe not wasn't necessarily what he enjoyed. But it is a great movie.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we are through our first pick of the third round. So, Greg, it's going to go to you now with the 8th overall pick here.
Okay. Well, I already did sort of a pseudo cameo, so I'm gonna go kind of to the cousin of a movie that Justin took. Basically, it's kind of like I always look at these two movies as kind of, sometimes I even get them confused, like scenes confused between the two, because it's John Candy on vacation, like, you know, and what ensues. And this is Summer Rental.
Okay.
So
Good.
it's a good one. I think it is, in my opinion, not as good as Great Outdoors. It is like a, you know, he did a lot of the sidekick comedies, like you said. It was like him and Aykroyd in Great Outdoors. This is really kind of like a lone wolf. Like he is the main guy in this movie. There are kind of various supporting characters, but still entertaining. It's still funny. There's just a lot of funny stuff, and kind of it's all culminated by him like hanging his pants on top of the sailboat to get a little bit of extra wind to win the race, which is just, and I just like the classic John Candy like look and wave as he's passing by. You know, it's just he's a great waver. He really, you think about it in movies, he's a really good movie waver, as weird as that sounds. He does it in Uncle Buck. You know, but yeah, it's Summer Rental. It's just like, yeah, it's like if you want to just watch something and not have to think about anything, and it's just have a little fun, and it's entertaining.
I admittedly have never seen this movie, so I did not put it on my list. I did see the scene on the beach, and he's carrying a cooler, and he's just walking over everybody and like destroying. It's like great physical comedy. But I have, outside of that scene, I have not seen this movie. But that's a ringing endorsement.
If you like Great Outdoors, you'll definitely like Summer Rental, but it'll probably be like a notch below.
And I did see his name in that movie is Jack Chester. So
it's some great names.
So Jack Chester, Dewey Oxenberg, Herb Blitzer, Gus Polinski, Barf, Chet Bentley, Mel Griffith, and what is his character? Buck Russell. Buck Russell. Uncle Buck. So
Molly Russell's wart.
Oh, so good. So good. Brett, have you seen this movie, Summer Rental?
Yeah. Actually, I watched it over the summer because they did. So part of what made me think of this too, I know we've talked about like kind of when to do whatever, but over the summer they did I think IFC did a John Candy like marathon.
Okay.
And so they did it over 2 days. So they played some of the movies multiple times. So I watched Summer Rental over the summer. I'd seen it before, but it had definitely been a minute since I had seen it. But yeah, it's as Greg said, it's if you just want to watch something and not think, there it is. It's definitely, it's goofy. It's good.
I think in the lives we lead now, you know, like everything should be simpler now with like internet and technology and cell phones, which they didn't have any of that like when these movies were made. But like sometimes we need movies like this, just dumb things like Greg said. You can kind of just check out, really not even think about it and just laugh. So,
Yeah.
and that's what
Also,
these movies
when
are
you think
for.
about it, I mean, obviously with TV, it goes usually about 2 hours, but this was the day and age where movies were 90 minutes. It
Yep.
was almost everything was guaranteed it was going to be 90 minutes. And so you don't have to sit forever and watch like a 3 hour like Marvel movie or something like that. It's in and out, you're done, and it's great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, I actually get to make my last two picks. So we are already at picks 9 and 10. So I'm going to start off with Greg mentioned the cameo. So I figured he was probably going with National Lampoon's Vacation. I wasn't 100% sure, but like the security cop at Wally World, and he just and like he does the voice thing in that movie too. He's got like a different weird voice, but Chevy Chase is with the fake gun and like shoots in the ass, and I mean he gets to ride a roller coaster and stuff like that too. So.
Enjoyed the hell out of that ride, it seemed.
I did not get a name for this character, so I don't know if he did have a name or if he was just like random security guard. But yeah, I figured
he definitely has a name. I have IMDb up. I don't know if you have it up, Brett, but I can get it in a second.
Yeah, look it up.
So I'm gonna go with that, like random security guy from National Lampoon's Vacation, because like again. We're sort of like Brett said, we could pick movies, we could pick roles, and this movie was so good, and it was kind of like led to Christmas Vacation and Vegas Vacation, which we all love. But this was kind of like a little bit of the OG, I guess European Vacations in there too. But like Clark Griswold's character reminds me of my uncle, so I can really kind of connect with that. But then he finally gets to where he wants to be, finally, and then it's freaking shut down, and he just loses his mind, and John Candy's got to be there to deal with it. So, so that's why
the role is credited as Lasky, guard at Wally World.
Lasky.
Interesting.
Okay. Laskey or just a Y?
Lasky. I can speak. Lasky.
Okay, just for future notes when I post this out. But yeah, no, that's the reason I'm picking this. So I don't know if either of you guys had this on your list, but I had to go with it.
I did too.
All right,
I had it above Summer Rental, but I wanted to, I figured I wanted to go with like an actual movie he let in. So that's a great
okay. All right, very good. I have let's see, I have 7 more movies that haven't been selected on my list. Obviously, you guys are going to take 2 more. This is going to be my last pick, so if they're not named, I'll use them in my honorable mentions. But man, this is a tough choice here. I'm between 2 movies. I'm going to go with the more obscure movie. I'm not going to go with the sports movie when we were kids. I'm not doing that one. I almost did. That's what I was between. But I'm going to go with a movie called Nothing But Trouble. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. I referenced this movie to someone. We were out at a bar just randomly drinking, and I'm like, do you remember that movie with Tupac and Dan Aykroyd and John Candy and Demi Moore? And there's a whole shit ton of people in this movie, and it is so weird. Chevy Chase is in it. But it is so. Let me give you a real quick plot rundown. So anyone that hasn't seen this movie, there's who's the guy that like Atomic Dog? Who sings that? Is it George Clinton or like what? Do you remember NBA Jam growing up there? And you could like put in the code.
Yeah, it's George Clinton. Yeah,
and you could put in like that P Funk. Do you remember that? You could have that character on NBA Jam called P Funk. He is in this movie. And that's what that's from, I believe. I could be way off. But so it says upon release, the film was largely panned by critics for its humor, screenplay, tone, and direction, and was a box office bomb. It did not do well. Critics compared the film's tone to that of movies such as Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, Psycho, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Rocky Horror Picture Show, and The Munsters. Aykroyd received the worst supporting actor in the Razzie. But like, it is just a weird ass movie. John Candy plays two separate characters in this movie, and it is just I can't even tell you how weird it is. It's just it's so strange, but it has stuck with me for what 30 plus years now that I have to take it in this draft. So Nothing But Trouble. I'm gonna look up what his character name is. I believe he was like some sort of like what's the guy called that's like a that helps out the judge, but he's the cop. What's that character? What's that?
Like a bailiff.
A bailiff. Yeah, he's kind of like a bailiff in that, and yeah. So and he plays another role too. I think like a female character as well. So yeah, Nothing But Trouble as just a weird oddball movie to add to our list here. So that's my pick. I don't know if you two have seen that, but it's interesting.
Yeah, never seen it.
I'm intrigued. I kind of want to, maybe go find it.
It is worth the weirdness. I'm telling you, like spend 10, 15 minutes. If you don't like it, turn it off. But I mean, you get to see a young Demi Moore in there, but you got some, like, I'm talking Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd, Tupac is in the freaking movie. So it's really, really good. Let me take that back. It's really, really interesting. I'll say that. All right, so that is my last pick. So I'm gonna wrap up my picks here. So I took The Great Outdoors, Cool Runnings, National Lampoon, Vacation, and Nothing But Trouble. So those were my picks. Greg, you are on for pick number 11 and your final pick.
All right, so I'm going to go into kind of like a more serious movie, although his role is, albeit pretty small, it's kind of it's a little bit of comic relief, but he actually is playing a real person.
All right, hold on real quick. Is your favorite actor of all time in this movie as well?
Who you think my favorite actor of all time is in this movie? Yes, he actually, that is the scene that he's in. He's sitting with that man. Having lunch with them. So yes, you are right.
All right. Well, go ahead and name it.
Yeah, the movie's JFK. He plays a lawyer by the name of Dean Andrews, who actually is like a real life person. Very Southern. I think he's a Cajun.
New Orleans.
New Orleans. Yep. And I think he's in the movie for only a few minutes, but he completely nails like the Cajun accent, the Southern lawyer. He looks like the guy, he talks like the guy. And a lot of people, I mean, that movie, it's a great movie. I think it is a little, it is very, it is very much Oliver Stone's view on what happened with the JFK assassination. So it takes a lot of liberties and there are a lot of opinions in that. But it is a good movie, and he plays, it was a critically acclaimed role for the small time that he was on screen, and people reference that a lot. You could YouTube the lunch scene and it's like 3 minutes and that's him. And, but it's John Candy, the character actor. And again, like kind of that glimpse of like, yeah, he could have definitely done a lot of these going forward and probably would have, but, wanted to pick it because it was a little bit different than the kind of the comedies that we've been picking so far.
I like it.
And Kevin Costner is in the movie. Yes.
I had to admit, I forgot he was in this movie until I was doing some research, and then it just like rung a bell. I mean, this movie's like 5 hours long, and his part is small, but yeah, I know he plays a really, really good character.
And then since we're talking about Kevin Costner, we probably should mention the interesting other linkage between John Candy and Kevin Costner. Draft Day. remember the part in Draft Day when, and this is actually a true story that since this is the 330 Sports Show, we would do a quick sports story, but when Joe Montana Bengals 49ers Super Bowl, when Montana comes out, I think they're starting at their own 8-yard line and they do the 92-yard drive to win the Super Bowl. Game-winning pass to John Taylor. I guess the story and the legend has it that Montana got in the huddle and saw that a lot of his guys were a little nervous about this upcoming drive here at the end of the Super Bowl. So being Joe Cool that he is, he wanted to kind of lighten the mood. So he alerted his huddle that, like, hey, isn't that John Candy over there standing on the sidelines? And John Candy was standing over there standing on the sidelines, and they kind of got a chuckle out of it. And then he took them 92 yards down the field. But that is referenced by Kevin Costner in Draft Day about how the great ones are able to slow the clock down.
Oh, wow.
Before he makes the most ridiculous series of picks and trades of all time. But I had to kind of loop that in. But yeah,
that's a freaking deep cut right there. Wow. I that was off my radar.
That research, that's for sure.
That is great. So I mean, JFK is a great movie, obviously a kind of a biopic there, but yeah, Dean Andrews, was he a lawyer, or what was he in that? A lawyer?
He was a lawyer, and I admittedly, it's been so long since I've seen that movie that I don't know exactly like what his particular
that's fine. That's fine. I remember him just having like he changes his voice for, as I mentioned, in National Lampoons, and then he's got the Cajun accent in that, outside of the normal John Candy voice.
I mean, when you Google like John Candy JFK, like IMDb comes up and it's like a quote, and the first quote that comes up is Dean Andrews saying, "Kennedy is dead as that crab meat. The government's still breathing. You gonna line up with a dead man?" So you can kind of get an idea there of what that and it even goes more off the rails than that, but it's really good.
Interesting. All right, very good. I like the deep cut Kevin Costner reference there too. All right, so to wrap up Greg's draft, Greg took Del Griffith, legendary Del Griffith, Plane, Trains, and Automobiles, Gus Polinski, Home Alone, Jack Chester from Summer Rental, and Dean Andrews from JFK. So Greg's probably got the award for best 4 movies, if we're going based on movie quality, outside of my picks. I don't know. Brett's got a couple real good ones in there too, but we're gonna let Brett close out his drafts here and see what he goes with our final pick of the draft.
I'm getting 4 of my top 6. Justin, I thought you were taking this at least twice, and you didn't.
I think I know what you're gonna take.
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm going with. We're going with Rookie of the Year.
Yep, that was it.
I like, which leaves my honorable mention, which we'll get into later. But
perfect,
I guess. Yeah, I like that one. But Rookie, that I mean, we were kids. So,
oh, I know. Yeah,
it's sort of like he's like Bob Uecker in Major League. It's just, comedic relief.
Cliff Murdoch, by the way.
So yeah, no, love that movie, and yeah, it's a great role for him, I think.
1993, 1993 movie, and great. I mean, if you were in our generation, or you're just into baseball movies or whatever, this movie has to be. I mean, quality wise, it's not the top, and it's a little bit of a stretch in reality, but it's a fun movie, and that's really all we want. Like half the time, we're not like signing up for all the Academy Award winners here. We want a good like you guys have mentioned the rewatchables. Like, we want a good rewatchable, fun movie, and that's exactly what this movie is.
And I don't know about you guys, but this is one of those movies too that, like, when you see, if you see it on and you start watching it, it's like, oh, holy shit, John Candy's in this movie. I completely forgot he's in this movie. Because he just kind of shows up and he's the announcer. It's like, oh yeah. And then it's like, oh, yeah. And then he's with you the whole, the whole movie. So it's a great role.
Yeah, when I showed earlier to my wife, like I was showing, like, not the movie, but like the list, like, because that was towards the top. She goes, wait, he was in that movie? I was like, yeah, he was the announcer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She goes, I don't even remember.
Yeah. You got Marv from Home Alone in that movie.
Marv's in it too.
You got the kid from.
I think he directed the movie, I believe. Didn't Daniel Stern direct the movie?
Oh,
I feel like he did. We might have to edit that one out.
No, it was Daniel.
I might be going off the ring.
I don't have time to edit. We're not doing that. We're going with it.
You had
and probably the reason why we don't think that he's in it is because you don't see him much, right? You hear him, right? And it's like he's so visual, like he's so distinct visually. But like they probably like cut to him a few times during the movie.
Yeah. Just again, like how many of these movies are just fun movies? Like pretty much. I mean, I'm not putting JFK in there as a fun movie, but like probably 11 of the 12 of these are like just dumb fun movies. That's what it's about. So yeah, I mean, we got a solid list of 12. Let me close out Brett's draft here. Uncle Buck, Buck Russell. You got Barf from Spaceballs. You got Dewey Oxenberg from Stripes, and you got Cliff Murdoch, the announcer, from Rookie of the Year. So that's a hell of a draft right there. So I mean, we got real 12 really, well, some people that haven't seen Nothing But Trouble. I'm telling you, come back and tell me if you like that movie or not. But there's 11 quality movies in there, and I got more on my list. Let's just go over let's spend, let's go for about 5 to 10 more minutes here, and just do some honorable mentions and any like final thoughts. So Brett, you led off. Why don't you lead off the honorable mentions too?
Yeah, so this one, because I just assumed Rookie of the Year was going to be gone. I figured I was probably going to be getting this one. So Brewster's Millions. Was definitely top of my, like, I wouldn't say top of the list, but like it's definitely top of my like honorable mentions list. And then should we kind of do it in order? Or should I just kind of list some of the, like, another one that I have?
Go for it. Just, I mean, you can list them all and we can just talk about them.
The one is the cameo of all cameos, and another one is it was an animation movie. It was it's called Rescuers Down Under.
Yep.
And he was the elder. So I remember that as a kid. That was a great movie. But yeah, that's like the other one is, and this is going to be, I don't know if it's weird, but it's weird, I think. So it's called Follow That Bird. It was like literally a Sesame Street movie. And they were following Big Bird got kidnapped essentially by people in like a circus, essentially. He was being like captive, something like that. He escaped and all that, but at the very end of the movie, who shows up as a cop? John Candy. And he arrests the two guys that kidnapped Big Bird.
I love it. I've honestly never heard of that. I've never heard of that before.
I hadn't either.
That's good. That's good. Okay. Yeah, I had the Rescuers Down Under on my list too.
It's literally maybe 30 seconds of screen time for him at the very end, and that's it.
I'm Googling that shit right now. Follow That Bird. All right. Yeah, Sesame Street presents Follow That Bird. Very interesting. Yeah,
awesome. That's awesome.
Look, kid friendly, man. You've got a couple little ones. It might be. Might be good.
It says Chevy Chase is in it too as a newscaster.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. Jim Henson, Kermit the Frog.
Oh yeah. There's a lot in there.
Okay. And I'm assuming you watched that as a kid, not as a 40-year-old man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I watch it every weekend for fun.
I mean, hey, maybe brings back some good memories. Why not? Why not?
Yeah, we're not here to blame anybody. Whatever. If that's what you like, go for it.
Oh yeah. Greg, how about you? How about do you have any honorable mentions?
Just a few. Admittedly, none that I've seen. Well, I guess one that I've seen. I'm sorry. Like he does. I guess he has a really small role in Blues Brothers. I don't even know what the role is, but so I feel like it was probably something very small, but he is in that movie.
I think he's a parole officer in that movie.
Okay.
For them.
Delirious is another one that's kind of like interesting. Like it's some weird plot where he ends up like in a soap opera. He like hits his head and ends up in living a real life soap opera or something, which was interesting. Never saw it. And this is just more for comic relief, given the world that we live in today. Like John Candy's last credited role, and I think by all accounts probably wasn't the greatest movie. Never seen it. It's a movie by the name of Canadian Bacon. And I got to read the plot of the movie because it'll make us laugh. Because you would think, in 1995, when it was out, it was the most probably far-fetched thing in the world. And now, not so much. The plot line is the U.S. president, low in the opinion polls, gets talked into raising his popularity by trying to start a Cold War against Canada. So we'll just leave it there.
Stop right there.
Canadian Bacon.
Does not sound all that far-fetched.
John Candy plays a sheriff in Canada, in his native Canada. So
interesting. Okay.
Probably entertaining. I feel like that might be one of those movies that's like, and I think Alan Alda plays the president. So there are like notable people in the movie. It's probably, half entertaining. And I guess it's a little nostalgic since it really was the last like credited movie that he was in.
Canadian Bacon, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, since you guys, you mentioned Cops, and one of you guys mentioned Blues Brothers and that Canadian Bacon. He's in another movie, and again, I have not seen this, but it came up on my list. I did a little research on it. It's called Armed and Dangerous, where he is a framed ex-cop. Then he becomes like a security guard, and he's paired with Eugene Levy to go with another pairing of interesting people. So I guess those two were in Second City in Chicago, big time, comedy school, comedy, place where a ton of people come out of. So that one stuck out. There's another one. I'm going to put this on my list of, I'm going to give it a shot. I have two more on my honorable mentions. But since we're mentioning cops and things like that, he plays a private eye in a movie called Who's Harry Crumb? I don't know if you guys have seen this or heard of it, but I
watched it during the John Candy marathon.
Okay.
It was
so. Would you compare it at all to like an Austin Powers?
No.
Okay. Because it seems like it seems like he's in a bunch of costumes. And
I'm not going to say don't watch it, but it's not easy.
Okay. It's a tough watch.
It's not good. It's like they're really. I felt like they were constantly like pulling for jokes.
Okay.
And they just weren't landing. Like nothing. Often fell short. Some did. I'm not gonna say it was terrible. One terrible, but it was. It was sort of rough.
Okay. All right. So maybe that one slides down my list of maybe I'll watch this. This other one though, I got to mention this one because another probably the top billed actor he's ever been paired with is Tom Hanks. And it's a movie called Splash.
Yep.
Again, I put it on my honorable mentions because I have not seen more than like a couple scenes out of it. And apparently he's just like this loudmouth kind of brother, and it's almost kind of like reading about it has the sense of like kind of like not Step Brothers, not but maybe like more like Wedding Crashers a little bit, where it's like kind of a rom-com. Tom Hanks is like the nice one, and John Candy's like a little bit more of like the prick in this movie. And so that's one that's definitely on my list of like I probably need to check that out.
So in that one though too, I believe Eugene Levy's also in that movie too.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like he kind of pairs with him a couple times. They were both together with probably Catherine O'Hara too.
You were, yeah.
There was the Canadians version of SNL, and I think it was called SCTV. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, because Candy was on that, along with actually a lot of people.
Oh, it's actually called Second City Television. SCTV. Yeah, very good.
But it was I know it was a lot of Canadians, and like the list, it didn't run very long. I don't think. I think it was only like a handful of years.
So I'm glad you referenced that, Brett. So I'm looking at the cast right now: John Candy, Eugene Levy, Joe Flaherty. Is that the guy from Happy Gilmore, the jackass guy?
I think it is.
Yeah,
I think it is.
In a handful of John Candy movies too. He was on some of the cast.
Catherine O'Hara, Martin Short, Rick Moranis, Harold Ramis. So I mean, that's just like some of the people I see as the main build. I'm sure there's some more people on that. That's a good one. SCTV. I'll have to maybe look into that. All right, so we've reached the point where we're gonna close out. Final thoughts. I'm gonna let you guys. I'll just give my final thought now, and then I'll leave it up to you guys to close it out. But I just think like John Candy. I know he's not American or whatever, but Canadian, but he's an adopted American. But he is, again, I've mentioned Chris Farley. He was like Chris Farley slightly before Chris Farley, and he was like, for people a little bit older than us, he's kind of like John Belushi. A little bit after John Belushi, maybe not quite the amount of physical comedy, but like maybe a better actor, and just like such iconic roles that like you just can't forget. So, Brett, I'm glad you brought this up, because it like took me down memory lane here a little bit, and going back on some of these roles. But yeah, I just Del Griffith. Del Griffith, Uncle Buck, Pulaski, or whatever his name is in Home Alone, Gus Polinski, Chet Ripley, all those characters, just such great memories from being a kid. And I think like, as Greg mentioned earlier, like his kids who are in high school can watch this now and still relevant, and it's awesome. So that's my final thoughts. I'll hand it off to you guys to kind of close it out here.
I mean, the movies that we just rattled off, even the honorable mentions, for anyone who's watching or listening, just obviously depends on where, but go watch them. Pick a handful of them. Just go watch them if you haven't seen it. And they're like, a lot of them are really kind of just goofy. Don't think. Sit and watch, and you'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy yourself. So yeah, go for it. He's iconic to us for sure, because a lot of his stuff was coming out as we were growing up. So, especially like I said, as Thanksgiving approaches, there's one of the most iconic movies ever.
Yeah,
if not the most iconic movie ever for Thanksgiving. It's brings back good memories.
100%. Greg?
The interesting thing that we did not time the show this way, because we had been talking about doing this for a while. John Candy would have turned 75 years old on Halloween last week. So it's crazy. Like, It feels like he's been gone so long. And he still would be a relatively young man, honestly, by the world standards today, if he was still around. So just one of the many we lost way too soon. But his movies are out there to be celebrated. Everything that Brett said. I think I've noticed that, obviously, our generation, if you're 40 to 60, you probably really were you're in the John Candy wheelhouse. And my kids, like I said, I've introduced them because they were movies that were important to me in my childhood. But I've noticed, when I talk to people at work who are in that 25 to 35 range, there's a little bit of a blind spot there. And I think people don't really, because if their parents were probably a little too, they're a little too old, and weren't really, they know them, but it wasn't in their wheelhouse, and they're too young. Man, I'll tell you what, they're like I said, if anybody's kind of in that window and it's man, I've never seen a John Candy movie, start with Uncle Buck or Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and I guarantee you'll be watching them. You can kind of binge them. You said they're easy watches. You can binge 2, 3, 4 of them in a day, and you'll be introduced to something really great.
Absolutely. Well, this was fun, and like I said, the best part of this stuff is just going back and having such fond memories of this stuff. And I think you don't have to be, you don't have to be into serious movies. You don't have to be into comedy movies. These are just entertaining, like Brett said, kind of turn off your brain, just watch it. It's just fun. So, we gave you a list. Hopefully you can pull a couple. I think everybody in the world has seen Home Alone at this point. Uncle Buck is probably right there behind. And like Brett said, please, if you have not seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles before Thanksgiving, go watch it. It is so freaking good. So good. Kevin Bacon even freaking makes a cameo in that movie, too, to get one of his 7 degrees in there, too. But my God, yeah, great list, guys. I think this was fun. I'm going to post this out on social media and see what people think. I'll do a draft list, and then I'm going to make it like a college football style 12-team bracket and let people fill it out and see what they like from there. But great stuff. These are always we always talk sports and do all that, BS. But to me, this is way more fun than talking about the Cleveland Browns at 2-6.
Please, yes.
But yeah, this is just stuff like this always is so much fun, and there's so much good shit out there and good facts and the connections that you don't even know about. And I'm looking forward to checking out that documentary at some point here in the near future. Same. But yeah, all good stuff here, guys. So one more time, let me just read off the movies one final time here. Uncle Buck, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, The Great Outdoors, Cool Runnings, Home Alone, Spaceballs, Stripes, Summer Rental, National Lampoon's Vacation, Nothing But Trouble, JFK, and Rookie of the Year to close it out. So those were our 12. We list a bunch of honorable mentions. Not time to list all of those, but yeah, Brett and Greg, thanks for doing this. And, let's do another one soon. And yeah, enjoyed it. And we'll close out here. So again, thanks for everybody for watching. Make sure to follow, subscribe, Youngstown Studio and the 330 Sports Show. And all of our old movie breakdowns are on there. So go check those out too, and tell a friend. Hopefully there's something good out there that you might like. So again, for Brett and for Greg, I'm Justin. Appreciate you guys watching. Have a great day, and early happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. This is original Youngstown content. Feel free to share our videos and tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow